Good day all, RobotnikHolmes here. For the first 16 issues of this comic, we have encountered a fair number of stinkers. Like, last video we saw some pretty unimportant and unfunny crap, but methinks maybe things might be looking up. I'm serious, of course. These two issues are actually pretty decent. And, as always, my goal with these videos is to not only recommend these things with my diploma of comic critique, but also to show these old issues to anyone curious of Archie Sonic comics in the past. Anyway, no time to waste. Buckle up, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between. Today we're getting into issues number 17 and 18. Let's see. The cover for 17 is an obvious homage to King Kong, what with the aeroplanes, the giant gorilla, and of course Sally as the damsel in distress. Probably should have seen that coming. Also, we have a bold one-liner adorning the cover, which is probably the weakest thing about it, if I'm being honest. Was it written by Ken Penders? It's got a bold letter of emphasis on it, it was probably Penders. But I think this joke blows it out of the park. The story itself starts with Sonic showing off how fast he is. Typical stuff, really. Even the others are getting tired of it always being the opening. However, this lol randoms intro actually has a purpose, as since Dr. Robotnik hasn't been terrorizing them as of late, this gives them enough time to have some fun and games, even though it hasn't stopped them before in this very comic. This scene leads into Dr. Robotnik's current happenings. It would appear the big bad has spent his time going out in search of this mysterious island. Yeah, just like the beginning of King Kong, we know what you're referencing, Penders. So, evil explorer Robotnik and his two lackeys are out looking for not King Kong and find a mysterious giant footprint in the ground. This leads Dr. Robotnik to recollect his backstory, where he created a giant robot ape that soon went out into the wild. Oh my god, since when did the villain have the time to do this? Yeah, they really roll with this, with the villain having apparently brought the mechanical monster to life, a la Frankenstein's monster, and it escaping into the wild stretches of Mobius. Also, apparently he saw it as a sort of son, if you can call your giant robot monkey that. So they find the out-of-control ape all of a sudden, which you'd think would be pretty easy, considering it's a giant robot that makes a lot of noise and is also freaking golden-plated. The villain is able to tame his giant son, and now plots to use his old project on the meddling Hedgehog. Meanwhile, back in Knothole, Sonic and Sally are planning a picnic together. Alright, whatever allows them to be out where the big bad can surprise them, I guess. So, Dr. Robotnik goes to the King Kong knockoff to go after the Hedgehog, after showing him what seems like Sonic's autograph, and the big boss battle of the week is ready to begin. Good golly, at least we get a nice parallel to the flashback with the hole in the wall. The freedom fighters are having a peaceful time until the sound of an approaching ape appears. It also makes gong noises to signal its arrival. Oh yeah, it's also called King Gong. Because puns. Sally Acorn herself tries to deal with the giant robot with a swift kick into the hard metal surface, but King Gong suddenly takes a liking to her. Also as expected. The other freedom fighters, well, Sans, Rotor and Bunny, two characters I kind of feel would make this threat irrelevant, take off to rescue Sally from the love-struck ape in Tails' green tornado plane. King Gong takes Sally to the top of some building, apparently not taken over by Robotnik, but what is in this loose adaptation? But thankfully, Sonic and the others are here to save the day. And when they arrive... What is that? Oh my god, sorry. Okay, serious Holmes. The freedom fighters and the giant ape reenact that scene from King Kong. Yeah, I was kind of expecting that. To finish it all off, Sally is saved by Tails, Sonic uses some non-lethal gun that is only just established to exist, and the gigantic ape is no longer a threat. In fact, it's actually dead. Sonic also makes a quip about him understanding feeling infatuated with Sally. Well, she makes this face, and the story just ends here. Story 2 is nothing much but a hint of what's to come, starring Sally Acorn and her thoughts reflecting on her romantic feelings for Sonic. Also, I guess this is in case readers hadn't watched the cartoon for the backstory, but there's a long recap on how she's the daughter of King Acorn and now he and his city were conquered overnight by Dr. Robotnik. It's pretty rough for the leader of the Freedom Fighters, as she thinks about missing her dad. But faster than you can say, God I love Art Mawini's style, a freaking meteor crashes nearby. Is this the answer to her wishes? Well, Rotor's gonna find out with his metal detector, a rather ineffective method, considering you can see the meteor has crashed nearby. Tell me again how he's the smart one. The freedom fighters investigate the mysterious object, which appears to be a cool orb. Oh wow, someone brought in a MacGuffin. While none of them know what the hell it is, Sally thinks it's just what they're looking for, and I guess we'll have to read the next issue to find out. God damn it, Penders. Maybe I'm just thirsty for good content, but I had more fun reading these issues than the previous ones. It's definitely not what I call perfect, or good writing. In fact, there's a lot of elements that I feel are pretty bland and dumb, not to mention predictable. But it was nice that instead of some giant mech or gadget with a magnet attached to it, the villain resorted to using a giant robot ape on the freedom fighters. Yes, amid all these puns and references, we've come to the point where Robotnik's using pop culture references to kill them. Unlike the earlier issues, the freedom fighters actually having some downtime and relaxing with picnics and whatnot is kind of justified, due to Dr. Robotnik supposedly not being there for a while. I say kinda because, well, they're freedom fighters. They could just have used this time to run in, fricking bomb the place, and then emerge victorious for taking back their stuff. The setup of the story, as usual with anything written by Ken Penders, is often the best part, and I'm afraid to say it's the same case here. The ending is so hasty in making references to King Kong, and then wrapping up with some puns, it just gets pretty dry in the narrative. The second story I'm pretty sure only exists to set up future stories, but other than that, it's kind of a waste of space. God damn. I was coming in hopeful, but I'm afraid the story rating for this issue is a measly 1. The characters are all pretty much how you expect them to act. A few character traits here, a couple bad jokes there, but the main focus is on Sonic and Sally and their relationship. It's okay, honestly. They were like that in the cartoon, doing the whole will they won't they jig. It's just usually the love triangles involve snarky Mobian characters and not giant robot apes. And if you think this is bad, we haven't even got into the infuriating love triangles the series has to offer, but okay, take it easy, Holmes, one issue at a time. Dave Manek does a nice job as usual with the art, even when it can appear slightly off model. Like, how hard is it to draw Sonic's back without making him look like a sodding crustacean? But other than that, and the fact that backgrounds are clearly not his thing, he does a pretty good job in the different locales, as well as the way he draws King Kong in all his scenes. He must have learned how to make use of different proportions, you know, after he drew Universe Salamander a couple of issues back. Art Mawini's penciling in the short Sally story was also pretty neat. It's really lacking story-wise, but the image of Sally sitting against the night sky is one heck of a cool visual. Hell, I'm glad everything looked good. The art and characters gets a 4. That leaves issue number 17 with a final score of 5 out of 10. Definitely one I'd rather skim through than actually read. Or better yet, just stare at the cover for a few seconds, and you get the gist of the story. And you miss all the freaking puns this series keeps shoving in. Enough of that. Let's move on to the next issue, while we're still young. The cover of number 18 has Dr. Robotnik interrupt Sonic and Sally's wedding. Well, that's certainly something. I guess if I were looking through the comic shop and find this, I want to see what the hubbub's about too. Also, were you planning on attacking them with a croquet mallet? Dude, weak. Fittingly enough, we begin this story with the preparation of the wedding, with all the heroes present this time. Also, Sonic seems to have enough time to build stuff, run around, and laugh at Antoine like the dick he is. But while they are planning it out, a stray motobug catches wind of the wedding and goes to alert Robotnik. As usual, the good doctor doesn't seem to be up for conquering much, and instead just throws darts at a picture of Sonic's head. Wait, didn't exactly one issue prior Sonic do the exact same thing with Dr. Robotnik's face? Weird. So Robotnik is intensely determined to interrupt them during the supposed time of good feelings, as he sends all his badniks out to stop them, I guess making this a literal shipping war. Meanwhile, at the titular wedding ceremony, Sonic and Sally are talked to by a penguin, while all the other characters watch, including Antoine's Royal Guard. Now there's a bunch of people I didn't expect to see make a return. Of course, the bad guys are here to interrupt the ceremony, with the swap bots being a surprisingly big threat this time around, as they have the laser guns they had in the cartoon. Part of the battle is off-screen though, and we only get to see the outside. And we also see Snively over there, looking like he's ready to take a dump. Following that, it's pretty much chaos throughout the rest of the pages. Sonic and Sally try to escape, but fail. Antoine proves his usefulness for the first time in the comic. And then the evil Dr. Robotnik makes an appearance. Thankfully, the blue Hedgehog is able to distract him, allowing Sally to incapacitate the villain by means of a curtain. Oh no, his one weakness. So everyone celebrates Dr. Robotnik's latest embarrassing loss. And to hit it home, this wasn't even a real wedding. They obviously weren't going to make the pairing official. But while the play was fake, Sally's feelings for Sonic were not, as shown afterwards when Sonic flees and tells the audience that he is a free hedgehog. Ugh. The second story is Shock, a continuation of the previous issue's one. About time these comics had some continuity. While Rota's busy trying to find out what that shiny orb is, Sally's nanny, Rosie Woodchuck, asks for her presents. Apparently it's something serious, as it involves Julayla? Yeah, this original character who's related to Rosie and acted as Sally's mentor, even though that was sort of Rosie's role in the cartoon. Whatever, more on that later. The mentor tells Sally of her duties since birth, and how she has trained and fought to become a proper princess. She even did that whole master-student thing where she had to try and take an acorn out of her hand. I think they're referencing Kung Fu here. There's also a few flashback snippets of Sally and Sonic at the commencement ball, and the day Dr. Robotnik started his uprising. All this is to show Sally, and to the extent the reader, just how much Sally has grown over the years, with the old lady asking Sally, her young student, to see just how far she has come. This time, to finally get the acorn out of her teacher's hand, Sally slams her knee into the old lady's hand. Sally, what the frick? You probably just broke her wrist doing that. Following that secret test of skill, Jalaila's dying breath is to say that Sally is finally ready, and that now she can become the princess and leader figure she has always trained to be. But that's not to say she takes her teacher's death well. Indeed, she's rather upset about the whole thing, and she is soon joined by the blue hedgehog himself. He offers her words of comfort, and the two sit together until the sun rises. That's pretty sweet. Good lord, today must be opposite day, because in this issue, the second story ended up being more important and fun to read than the first one. The whole wedding sequence and build-up are nice, especially when we're seeing all the characters together, but in the end, it just becomes a mess of Sonic vs. robots for literal pages. It's a really fun mess, don't get me wrong, but it's far from what I was hoping to see in a story focused on Sonic and Sally's romance. As usual, the writing department is less focused on making a coherent story that continues from previous issues, and instead just fills every page with puns and corny as heck dialogue. I mean, at what point would you hear Sonic humour the phrase, "Yahoo, I do"? It's complete madness. The second story was sort of corny with the whole trope of, my student, you have learned so much in all my teaching. Here, let me die so that you can progress as a character. Rest in peace. But despite that, it was indeed effective. It was nicely paced too, like it started with the usual freedom fighter team being together, but then Sally's whisked away to a personal matter, and the memories of their time together start coming in. Now this is how you make an effective side story. The story rating is a 4. The whole Manak and Morwini combo keeps going strong. The character expressions are neat and cartoony looking, and their characterization is consistent. Art Morwini got to draw more scenes that are quieter and more reflective. I think his contributions to issues 17 and 18 are the best stuff he's done yet. Once again in the story, Sonic and Sally's relationship is in plain view, but really it's only the idea of their romance. You don't really see of why they like each other, it's just like, we were together in the show sort of, let's get married here, even though we were married in fricking virtual reality before. Let's see, my only problem in the character department, as much as I hate to say it, is the character of Jalila, Sally's dying mentor. I praised how effective her scene was emotionally, but the character just does not make sense to me. In the cartoon, Rosie was Sally's nanny and teacher figure, and the inclusion of Jalila, a comic original inclusion, who's basically the same thing, it just feels unnecessary. She existed just to be that dying mentor trope to strengthen Sally's character. Regardless, I do feel the art and the other factors do far better, so that's a plus. I'm giving the art and characters a 3. Final score, 7 out of 10. Yep, finally found a sort of good one. You know, it's really nice when you read comics, and then see ongoing events in the next one. Why the other writers and editors didn't get Archie Comics to do this beforehand, I'll never know. But you know what I am glad about? The next video is going to be about Sally and the others' continued quest in knowing what the weird orb thing is. So I thank you for watching this video of me analysing old Sonic content, and stay tuned for next time where we're going to take a look at the one-shot special, Sonic in Your Face. Yeah, I think that looks weird too.